Hey everyone, this is Sarah with RegisteredNurseRN.com, and today we're going to talk about how to prepare for your job interview. So you've done one of the hardest things. You've actually got the interview. Now you've got to know how to prepare for it so you can get the job. In the previous video, we talked about how to brush up your nursing resume. So if you want some tips and tricks on how to brush up your resume and some really cool templates, be sure to check out that video to help you with that. Now this video that we're going to go over comes from an excerpt in the book, Nursing Resume, A Job Guide for Nurses. I wrote this book for new nurse graduates or nurses who are entering the job market or wanting to switch jobs, just to give you some tips and tricks on how to get your job. It's a short read, as you can tell. It's only a couple bucks. It helps support my website, RegisteredNurseRN.com, and also with that you get some premium resume templates with matching cover letters, and you get all that just for a couple dollars. So if you're interested in that, you can get that off of our website. Now in this video, what I'm going to talk about, it's going to be from a lot of my personal experience because I've had several interviews over my career, and I'm just going to give some information that I've looked up, that I've heard from hiring managers, and just give you some tips to help you get through that interview. What we'll talk about is what you need to do before the interview, because there's some steps you have to do to make sure you're prepared. We're also going to talk about some things of how you should arrive, how you should conduct yourself, interview questions, and how you should follow up. So all this information will hopefully help you ace that interview. So let's get started. The very first thing, things to do before you actually get the interview. Believe it or not, just showing up for the interview or just preparing for that part's not it. You want to get prepared beforehand. So this is what you need to do. First thing, get a hygiene tune-up. So if you need a haircut, go get one. You need to get your hair colored, go get it colored. You need to get your fingernails done. If you're a man, you need to trim your beard to make sure that you are in tip-top looking shape. Next, buy a new business attire outfit. A lot of people already have this, but sometimes it just feels good to go and buy a brand new outfit before you go to your job interview. And here in a couple minutes, I'm going to talk about the do's and the don'ts of what you should wear to your interview. But always stick with business attire. Next, a lot of people forget about this, but this is very important. Clean up your Facebook, Twitter accounts, and LinkedIn accounts, any social media you have. Because, believe it or not, before you go to your interview, it is estimated that a lot of employers will check these social media sites before they actually give you an interview. So take off the embarrassing photos of you drinking, partying, or saying obscene things or anything like that. Remove that stuff, because that is going to be ingrained in the manager's mind before they see you, and you want it to look in tip-top shape. Next, before you go to your interview, you want to practice mock interview questions. Do this with friends, family, and also etiquette of how you should conduct yourself and how to take care of any nervous habits you might have during the interview. In the next video, I'm going to go over some practice interview questions that you'll face on the job that most commonly nurses are getting asked in interviews. So be sure to check out that video as well. And also, you want to bring copies of your resume and take your nursing portfolio. This is so you can hand the resume to the manager, because it looks professional, number one, and number two, she may not remember which resume is yours, and he or she can look at that information while you're doing the interview. And also a nursing portfolio. In nursing school, a lot of nursing schools are pushing their students to do nursing portfolios. We have a video on that, so if you want to watch that, be sure to check that out. It's a compilation of everything you've done through your career up till then. You may ask, well, I'm a nursing student. I haven't done anything throughout my career. Really, you have. You need to include any awards you got in nursing school, any letters of recommendation from preceptors, from professors, job history. It's like an artist's portfolio of their drawings, but it's really of what you've done as a nurse or nursing student. So what it does is whenever you give it to the manager, whenever you come in for the interview, you're making your case, hey, I have experience, I love nursing, and I'm organized, and see, you can look at this right here. But we'll go over nursing portfolios a little bit in another video, because that's a whole different series. Now, what you should do before the interview. So you've got all this stuff done, you've prepared, you've touched up your hygiene. Now it's the day of the interview. What do? Okay, rule number 1, arrive early. People do not like when you arrive late. Believe it or not, I knew a manager who complained. She had just recently gave an interview to someone and she said, I would love to hire them, but they arrived 15 minutes late to the interview and didn't even give me a good excuse. Not good, because they're thinking, hey, they can't show up to an interview early. They're not going to show up to the job on time. They don't like that. So what I say is plan to enter the building about 10 to 15 minutes early, especially if you've never been to the building, because you may have to go to a different floor or ask for directions on where to go, and you want to give yourself time to find the place. And also, if you drive, always account for traffic. So plan to arrive about 30 minutes early. You can just sit in your car, prepare yourself, think of some questions, talk with friends, or just whatever you do to have less stress, and then go in the building. Because normally what you do is you go in their HR building, and then you'll meet with the human resource the human resource department, and then they'll call the manager to come get you, and then the manager will take you to their office to conduct the interview. Okay, next, whenever the manager comes to get you, if it's set up like how I just said with how they come to the human resource department to get you, or you have to actually physically go to the manager's office yourself, you always want to make a good first impression. And I mean by looking at the manager, shaking their hand, putting your hand out to shake it and say, hi, my name's Sarah, nice to meet you. And they'll be like, hi, my name's da-da-da-da-da, and be like, thank you so much for giving me an interview. And always have good etiquette by saying, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Shows respect. And then once you sit down, provide copies of your resume to them. Just say, oh, I brought a copy of my resume for you. And then they'll take it. And this is also a great time to show your nursing portfolio as well. You can ask them, just say, I brought my nursing portfolio as well. Would you like to see it? And they'll tell you yes or no. Usually it's a yes. Okay, a big thing you're always wondering before you go to the job interview is, what should I wear? So here's some tips. This is what the experts say, and just from personal opinion and seeing and hearing other managers, I think I agree with the experts. So let's divide it into what women and men should do. First, let's go over women. Women, okay, for suits, you want to wear business attire, not something casual you would lounge around the house or go out with friends. You want business conservative attire, because the nursing healthcare profession is a professional profession, so you want to dress the part. You want to get a suit type outfit, meaning you can do a skirt. The shortest length you should go is knee length, nothing above the knee, and of course you can go longer than the knee. You want to keep it conservative. You don't want to sit down and you have to keep pulling your skirt down, or you can see up your skirt. Wouldn't be good. Also, you want to wear like a matching blazer, or you could also wear dress pants, just something nice that looks elegant and it matches. You can really go to a lot of these like TJ Maxx, Ross, and they have a lot of nice little outfits you can get for good cheap prices, 3-piece suits sometimes. Next, basic jewelry. I know with women we love to wear lots of jewelry, but you want to keep it basic. Just a watch. They recommend no more than 2 rings, basic earrings, and a necklace. No more than that. A lot of people have a lot of piercings in their ear, probably just want to do just one in each ear. And of course, experts say to avoid any facial piercings at all. That includes the tongue, the lip, the nose, the cheek, anything. They really recommend you do not wear that. No more than 1-inch heels. Pantyhose. If you decide to wear a skirt, it's good to wear pantyhose. It looks more professional, they say. Recommended colors are brown and tan, which match. Avoid any fishnets or crazy color like red pantyhose or black pantyhose. Basic makeup. Normally what you wear that, but don't try to wear any like fluorescent eyeshadow or really red lipstick. Try to keep it as neutral as possible, but makeup is good. Just keep it as light as you can. Hair, you want, of course, your hair to be washed. It's okay to wear it up or to wear it down. Just make sure you're not using any crazy hair colors like blue, pink, crazy hair color. If you have, it's really recommended that you dye your hair to a normal, natural color before going to the interview. And perfume is a biggie. A lot of people have allergies, and a lot of people get nauseous from smells, so you don't know if the person you're going to be interviewing with has that, and you don't want them to remember you by, oh, that's that girl that was wearing that terrible perfume. If you have to wear perfume, one squirt is the best, but it's really try to avoid it. Now let's go to men. Men are a lot more simpler than women. Okay, men, suits. Again, keep the suits to the normal colors. It's usually what you want to wear is the button-up shirt, maybe a tie, the blazer, and the pants. Navy, gray, and black are the best. Jewelry, usually just the watch and your wedding ring is good for a man, nothing else. Shoes need to coordinate with your suit color. And facial hair, make sure that is groomed. If you have a beard, make sure it's nice and trimmed. And of course, any nose hairs or eyebrow hairs, make sure everything is nice and trimmed. Okay, so we've talked about how to prepare for the interview, what you should wear. Now let's talk about how you should act during the interview. But first, before we get started, let me share this funny story. This manager that I knew, she was actually my manager, and she was hiring for a different position on one of the other units she ran. And in order to get the person for the interview, she had to walk a very long distance to the human resource building and then walk the person all the way back to her office. So probably the walk altogether was 10 minutes. And she gets the person in the room and she has them sit down, and the very first words out of the interviewer's mouth is, I just want to let you know up front that I'm not probably going to take the job, but I just want to see what you can offer me. And she said that she was absolutely stunned because the interview ended up being shorter than the walk there back and forth. And she was really aggravated because she said, you know, I just don't like when people act like that and say those things. At least let me think you're interested in the job. So key, never up front, even if you're probably not going to take the job because you already have another job offer, don't let that manager know that's interviewing you, because you're taking their valuable time, and you want to be as professional as possible. So here are some tips that I want to give you on how to act during your interview. So let's get started. Okay, first, manners. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning. You want to use yes ma'am, yes sir. Say the word yes instead of yeah, and say the word no instead of nah, and stuff like that. So always use good, proper language. And also have eye contact. Whenever you're talking to the person, look at them in the eye. Don't look behind them or look down at your paper. You want to let them know that you're not afraid to look at them. And also, while they're talking, look at them, because that is a nonverbal cue that you're listening. So always look at them while they're talking. And no slouching in the chair. Sit up straight. Have your hands together so you won't do the next thing. No nervous habits. A lot of times when you're nervous, because you're really nervous during these interviews, people like to click their pens or shake their hands or bounce their leg up and down. Try to control those habits. This is where you can get that under control whenever you do your mock interview with your friends and family. And they can tell you, hey, you sort of bounce your leg all the time, or you're fidgeting your hands, and that will help you not do that during the interview. Let them control the interview. I heard one time of this person go into this interview and they're like, I don't know how well it went. And I said, well, what do you mean? They said, well, I think I talked too much during it. And they said that they had pretty much just talked about all these things about the latest football game or asked them questions, and they really didn't talk much about the interview, and they ended up not getting the job. But let the interviewer lead the interview, and you can ask questions, but don't, because you're nervous. A lot of people, whenever they're nervous, they like to ask questions, but try to avoid that. You want the interviewer to be in control. And don't lie. I know a lot of times people feel thrown off if they're asked a certain question, how they would handle a situation, or they make up false information. If you don't know, just say, oh, I don't know, I'll have to get back to you, or just say you don't know. It's better to say you don't know than to lie and then they catch you in a lie, because you're definitely not going to get the job then. So don't lie. And turn off your cell phone. It's best, I know a lot of people like to put it on vibrate, but sometimes it might be, you can still hear vibration. So it just is a courtesy to the manager, hey, you have my full attention. I have my cell phone off. So just turn it off. And if you're gonna have important phone calls from your kids or your family, just say, hey, I'm going to a job interview. You can get a hold of me afterwards. So turn your cell phone off. Avoid filler words like and like, things like that. It makes you sound like you don't know. It's best to avoid those type words. And next, avoid touchy subjects. Like I said, with the person I was talking to, they said that they sort of asked too many questions during the interview. You want to avoid touchy subjects like religion, politics, hot topic issues such as abortion, things like that, because chances are you and that hiring manager, you might have nursing in common, but might not have politics in common. You don't want that to be a game changer for the job interview. So avoid touchy subjects. And at the end, when the interview ends, always shake that manager's hand and thank them very much for the interview, and you look forward to hearing their phone call. So always let them know, hey, thank you for this interview and thank you for your time, because their time is very valuable. Okay, let's talk about one that actually I think one of the most important things about the interview, following up after the interview. Personally, I think following up for one of my jobs is what actually got me the job. I applied for this position in a really highly competitive area. The turnover rate in the area was very, very slim, and the job usually only opened up every couple of years. So I got an interview, and I did the interview, and the nurse manager told me, you know, I have to make my decision by the end of the week, and I'm only allowed to hire so many applicants. I think it was only 1 or 2. And so she said, hopefully you'll hear about, whenever I make my decision, I'll let you know at the end of the week. So I emailed her 2 days later, just thanking her for the interview and hoping I can be a part of the team and that I feel like I can bring a lot to the team. And I ended up getting the job, and I was really excited, and she thanked me for the follow-up. And it turns out that that was probably one of the reasons I ended up getting the job. So following up is so important because number one, it reminds the manager of who you are. Number two, it makes you look serious about the job and that you really want it. And number three, it just shows them, hey, I remember that person and that was really nice. Yeah, I think I'm gonna hire them. So it's really good. And what do you have to lose? Nothing, because it's really short, a short email you can send. So email, like I said, whenever you do it, it really depends on when the manager says that they're gonna make their decision. At the end of the interview, they usually tell you when they're gonna make their decision. So if they're not gonna make their decision for about 3 weeks, I would wait until maybe the next week and a half to send your email. If you don't have the email, you can usually get this from the human resource department. Just call them up and ask for the email for that manager. But usually the manager will give you a business card after the interview and it'll have their email on it. People back in the day before email was big, they used to mail letters. That's sort of outdated. It takes a long time to get there. And email is just quicker to do. And calling, it's really recommended you don't call. Because number one, you don't know what that manager's doing. A lot of managers, when they're in their offices, they're busy, and that's just an interruption, and they might find it as annoyance. Best practice is just to email them and thank them for the email. And in the book, I have a sample email that you can send, and this is what I really recommend you sending. Dear Manager Sarah, I just wanted to send you a quick email to thank you again for giving me the opportunity to interview for the position. I'm still very interested in this position and I would love the opportunity to join your team. If you have any additional questions or concerns, please let me know. And thank you again for your consideration. Sincerely, Sarah. And it has your contact information below that. So that's just a really quick, it'll take you literally 2 minutes to type it out and send, and it just lets them know that, hey, I really want this job. I know you're still deciding, but I would be the best for it. So always follow up after your interview. So that was how to prepare for your interview. I hope this helps you out and I hope you get that job that you're wanting. And be sure to check out our other videos about how to brush up your resume, and we're gonna get some videos out about interview questions and so forth. And thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I hope you have a great day.